Facebook Live from our page, On Point with Cynthia Hardy. Not the personal page, but the show page, On Point with Cynthia Hardy. The whole team is on the stream now. Say hello to Dexter. Where'd Dex go?
Your car.
Into the car. All right. Say hey to Celeste, Sandy, Marty. All right, and me. All right. So let's go, and we'll show you Dex when he comes back. Please meet our guests. We expect to be speaking tonight with Richard B. Spencer, the director of the National Policy Institute and editor-in-chief of RadixJournal.com. He's a graduate of the University of Virginia and the University of Chicago. He coined the term alt-right and is a leading alt-right, and he is an identitarian activist in the United States. We'll get him to tell us a little bit more about that. We welcome back Allen Olson. Allen is the former leader of the South Carolina Tea Party. These days, he describes himself as a moderate who voted for Trump. We're not dabbling in politics. Allen is a deck builder and also a professor, I understand, at one of our technical colleges. Thank you, Allen, for being with us. Dr. Chris Leevy Johnson, college professor, historian, and theologian. His PhD from UNC in Charlotte is in African American Studies. He's campus pastor at Brookland Baptist Northeast. On Point welcomes you all to the show today, and this is where y'all say thank you.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here.
Alan, come on, cozy on up to that mic. Good. Now, this topic, the browning of America, is one that is beginning to get a little bit more ink. And I think it has to do with the fact that as we see a number of the groups that are coming about, and I'm going to start with you, Dr. Leevy Johnson. I think we see a number of the groups and that are coming, kind of raising their head, and especially those that seem to be white supremacist groups. It seems almost to be a reaction from the browning of America. Dr. Leevy Johnson.
Of course, that I believe that is certainly the case, as you see what has happened recently with the election. One of the things that we have to be very careful about, is I've been very conscious about theologically, is assuming and looking at a person's motives and assuming they think a certain way, but be wary they vote or what candidates they support. One of the things that we can do, however, is look at a person's actions and their behaviors. And if you look at the actions and the behaviors of our president-elect, who seems to be ultra-conservative, you can make some decisions and some opinions and some judgments based upon what he is doing. What do his actions and his decisions and his behaviors match up with his rhetoric? Mm-hmm. And it certainly seems that that is the case with the cabinet that he is putting together. He's certainly with the, first of all, talking about the wall, and they can correct me if I'm wrong, the wall that he wants to put up between the borders, the Rio Grande, to keep out those persons who are Mexican and Latin American and Central America. It's not a safety issue. Mm-hmm. It's not for national security, because I don't remember, and don't know anyone else might remember, any person who's Mexican, especially Mexican or Hispanic, who's ever led any type of major revolt or major 9/11 type situation in the United States of America. You know, we have not had a problem with anyone Mexican leaving any type of revolution in the United States of America. They know the same statistics, and I'm talking about those persons who would be that type, because not all persons who are Anglo-American, not all persons who are Caucasian American feel the same way. We know that Hillary Clinton won 2 million votes more than Donald Trump, so the entire country does not feel this way. Unfortunately, with our electoral college that was created to make sure that the slaveocracy was protected in the United States of America right after the right during the creation of the Constitution was protected, while we got 3/5 of a person. So they certainly understand the demographics of the country are changing. The demographics are becoming browner, not just African American, but Hispanic American. And so I think this might be the last hurrah. You know, when Sarah Palin started talking about 2008 about take our country back, who are you taking it back from?
Okay, let's stop and give Alan a chance to jump on in here. First of all, Alan, thank you for being a white dude in the studio. We're talking about this sensitive topic when undoubtedly people are going to call you and be mean to you today. So, because it's a very sensitive topic, and actually a number of people, my listeners, feel very strongly, you know, about this topic. Sure. Is it fair to say that there's a lot of anger out there, and that some of it is tied to the browning of America, all the immigrants, the rising up of so many African Americans in so many sectors?
There is a lot of anger out there. There's a lot of divisiveness going on out there. One of the biggest problems is we don't communicate with each other properly. We yell at each other and we talk each other down. But as far as the wall, I contended it's not to keep them out. What it is, I mean, it's because of the color of the race. What it is to keep them out because they're, it's more for the jobs. It's for the middle class. The middle class under Obama, Bush, and partly under Bill Clinton, we've been stagnant for the last almost 30 years. And what they're doing is they're taking our jobs. I'm a carpenter. I've seen it myself. I've lost work because some of the illegal immigrants, sure, we're supposed to have a E-Verify, but the problem with that is we've got so many loopholes right now that it's taken, that companies are encouraged to hire illegal immigrants over some of the workers we have right here. It's regardless of race or color. And that's my biggest beef, and that's my biggest problem. It's not race. I can care less who I'm talking to, who I'm working with, who I work for. The problem is I've got 30 years in construction. I shouldn't have to lose my job to someone that doesn't know what they're doing simply because it's cheaper labor.
You're listening to On Point with Cynthia Hardy. Today our topic is the browning of America and whites' reaction to the browning of America. And as the Washington Post has asserted, has it created a demographic called the angry white male? Joining us via phone today is Richard B. Spencer, Director of the National Policy Institute and Editor-in-Chief of RadixJournal.com. He's a graduate of the University of Virginia and the University of Chicago. He coined the term alt-right and is a leading alt-right identitarian activist in the U.S. We're going to go to the phone lines now. Mr. Spencer, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Mr. Spencer, you know, you're all over the news. People know who you are, and we've seen a number of the interviews that you've done, and you're very aware of a lot of the criticism that you get in the African American community. I want to thank you very much for joining us today to further help us understand from your perspective. Tell us, what is the alt-right? From your perspective, what is it and how did it come about?
Sure. I started using this alt-right or alt-right. It was a way of really getting away from mainstream conservatism and George W. Bush neoconservatism in particular. So I was never really a conservative or Republican in my environment. I never have been. I probably never will be. I thought that the Bush administration's disaster, the neoconservatives and their wars with Iraq and further wars that they weren't engaged in with Iran and so on, was just a totally terrible idea. And I felt like we needed a new beginning. We didn't need to go back to the conservatism of the 20th century. We needed a 21st century conservatism or right. And that's what he thought from. It was a sense that we need something new, something different, something fresh. I definitely believe in the reality of race. I believe that European identity. I believe that identity has different layers to it. I think there's an ethnic layer, there's various ethnic layers, a very religious layer. But there is this real racial layer, the sense that we are European. And in many ways, that you and your listeners might say to yourself, like, I am an African. I'm black. And that doesn't mean that there aren't different, variations and different identities within that. But at some level, you're all a big extended family. And that is the kind of consequence that I want to bring to conservatism in the 21st century. I thought that was necessary. Now, alt-right has never been defined. I never used it exclusively or totally cut the agenda for. So I think to a large degree, the alt-right is a kind of banner of resistance against the mainstream, against the mass media, against conventional Republicans, against, we might call them conservatives, and so on. And obviously the alt-right also is Donald Trump became a kind of hero of the alt-right. And so, there's some different, the alt-right is it has some layers to it, it has some different qualities. So if I could sum up the alt-right with just one word, it is identity.
ask you this. Mr. Spencer, because what comes across in the readings and a number of your interviews is a level of superiority as far as Europeans are concerned with all of the other races of people in America. So I want you to address that.
I don't believe in superiority in the sense that there's some sliding scale of races where whites are untapped followed by Asians and Indians. I don't believe in anything like that. What I believe in is different and unique. So there's something about Africans that they're only Africans to be African. There's something about Europeans. And I'm not just referring to the continent of Europe or Italy or London, England or Moscow and Russia. I'm referring to the people in the spirit. Only Europeans can be Europeans. There's something about us that leads us to have a certain way of looking at the world, a certain being, a certain way of doing things.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe in uniqueness and difference.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when it comes to the United States, I would say that yes, there have been many different races who have lived in the North American continent. There's obviously been, Indians or Native Americans, however they like to refer to, Africans who have, a very painful history of being brought here. But in terms of what is America, what is American identity?
Yeah.
Europeans are the central, indispensable core people who define what American identity is.
Hold on. Hold on. You're listening to OnPoint with Cynthia Hardy. Today we're talking about the browning of America and the emergence of the angry white male. On the phone with us is Richard Spencer, who heads the National Policy Institute. And continue, Mr. Spencer, and that point that you're making about Europeans in America and Europeans being kind of uniquely suited to lead America fits very nicely into our topic today about the browning of America, because there's nothing that can be done to stop it. America is changing. And the European influence in America in terms of its population is waning. And so how do you kind of justify that in your head? I know you're advocating for the superiority of the European race, but it's going to be overtaken. Go ahead.
Okay, I just explained why I don't believe in superiority, and then you just repeated that I believe in superiority. I mean, you have to at least accept, my viewpoint.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I believe. I believe in difference and uniqueness, not superiority. I agree with you that it's really in North America. And it's actually occurring in Western and Central Europe as well. Eastern Europe, not so much. So yes, this is maybe the most important thing that is happening in the world today, and that is the demographic change, and also this sense of it's not an invasion like years gone by where people come in with guns and they take over and so on. It's something much more subtle, and it's something that white people are really doing to ourselves. We are allowing this to happen. We feel like we have some terrible guilt that we have to somehow purge by allowing in Syrian refugees to Germany, for example, or engaging in affirmative action plans in the United States, and allowing Mexican immigrants, or so on. So we have this sense of guilt about ourselves. So this is absolutely true, and I think it is the most important thing that is happening in the world today. You could call it the Great Erasure. It is a transformational event. What I am saying is that we are living at this point where white people are allowing their country to be transformed. Where are we going to be in 25 years and 50 years? I do not believe that you're going to be dealing with the same white consciousness in 25 years from now. I think you're going to be dealing with something that is very different. And I don't think this is just my idea. I think this is inevitable and ineluctable, inescapable. And that is that we as white people are going to have a racial consciousness which we really lack for much of the 20th century and certainly lack right now. We are going to see ourselves as a people. We aren't going to see ourselves as individuals. We aren't going to see ourselves in this kind of abstract Americanism of we all love with freedom, with a constitution. We are going to see ourselves as part of an extended family and of having a collective interest. This is going to be a dramatic transformation that is ineluctably going to occur.
Let me take a couple of calls. Bill out of Florence. Hey, Bill, what's on your mind today?
How you doing?
I'm good. What's on your mind, dear?
Well, first of all, I appreciate Spencer for getting himself on the line. I appreciate him being the white guy in the studio. That's just what I heard.
Mm-hmm. You got a bad connection, Bill. Adjust something if you can. A little bit better.
Okay, but I'm going to cut to the case. I remember when Katie Brown told us years ago, you're getting seen over here, because they were the scourge of society over there. You're underneath. And so the king of the thing is you don't even know. You go out over the straight lane and do what you want to do. And your relationship with this relationship, think about the home. They told the Indians to give up the land. They worked the land on the basis of white folk, and then they just came in and the railroad.
I got you. Got you, Bill. Got you. Let's talk to Deanna out of Columbia. Hey, Deanna.
Hi, and I'm shocked, but I wasn't shocked by the way for the white person, because I'm a white female, and I'm not for that at all. I feel like this country has adapted and changed over the years, and that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. There is no, neither is this, everybody is the same. It doesn't matter what color your skin is, that isn't what you should do. Your personality, the way you act with others, that's it.
What's your name? Where you from?
So, while I think this topic is really relevant,
Okay, hold on for me.
in one way,
All right.
1 year, 10,000 years from now, who knows when it will be, but people will look back at this and think we were crazy to even think about people in that way. It shouldn't be black, white, Mexican, we're all people. It doesn't matter. White people don't own this country. They never own this country.
Amen.
So the fact that white people feel that way is really discouraging to other white people, and there are many white people that don't feel that way.
Amen.
You're listening to OnPoint with Cynthia Hardy. Today our topic, the browning of America. And has the browning of America created or contributed to the emerging demographic of the angry white male? Give us a call, 783-9936-783-WWDM. In our studios, Reverend Dr. Chris Leevy Johnson, along with Allen Olson. On our phones, we have Richard Spencer, the director of the National Policy Institute and editor-in-chief of Radix Journal, of course. He is the founder of or at least he coined the term alt-right, and is a leading alt-right activist. We are now going to head to our News in View segment today. It's time to take a break. I'm going to throw this question out to the audience. What evidence do you see in our society that underscores the browning of America? Give us a call, 783-9936-783-WWDM. And I'm going to turn it over to Marnie for this week's OnPoint News and Views. And the phone lines are packed, Marnie.
They sure are. This is a good subject. This week's OnPoint News and Views is brought to you by the Learning, Living, Giving campaign.
Oh, yeah.
A kidney for Jim Hardy.
Yeah.
And that's something that's near and dear to us.
Yeah.
So I'm going to talk about it for a minute.
All right.
And we're not going to cry.
All right.
Okay? This Saturday, December 10th, Cynthia and Jim Hardy are launching a year-long community awareness and fundraising campaign in support of the efforts to find a suitable kidney for Jim, who has end-stage renal failure. I'm going to let that marinate for a moment. He needs a transplant. Jim is not alone, so many families are dealing with this issue. This issue just happens to be near and dear to this family. This past weekend, the National Kidney Foundation hosted their annual Dancing with the Doctors affair. It was a wall-to-wall sellout crowd. Our community needs more awareness on this issue, especially since so many African Americans are affected. So December 10th.
Right. We're going to kick it off, Marnie. We've asked a number of people to join us as ambassadors. What's most important, while we are focusing on Jim, there's so many families in our community where this affects them. Until I can't do this campaign without an overall awareness campaign for the community with a number of activities and fundraising activities for the National Kidney Foundation as well. So as we raise Jim up and raise the issue up and you know, then we're hoping also to be able to do those wonderful things for others in our community too.
Absolutely. And I'm going to step out and tell the audience I am an ambassador for Jim Hardy.
Thank you.
And I'm going to give the audience my cell number. So if you want to contribute, call me. The number is 803-361-5461. 803-361-5461.
They're going to call you, Marnie.
They're going to call me. I'm ready.
Somebody's calling you now. Who's on the phone?
You know what? On the phone, listening to us, we have Reggie Barner. This Tuesday is going to be major. Major for the old Roosevelt Village. We are so excited about what's happening in that community. I rode by there last week to see what was happening, and then Friday, I think the sign went up, the village at River's Edge. Hi, Reggie. How are you?
Oh, Reggie, it's great to have you on the phone, man. Where are you calling us from?
I am in Augusta, Georgia.
Okay.
I'm on the road.
Okay, well, we wanted you in the studio, but we understand you're traveling. You know, Reggie, that community is looking awesome out there. I can't wait for the ribbon cutting on Tuesday, and I understand you've got some stars that he's traveling with, Marnie.
I know. Reggie, can you tell us who's coming Tuesday?
Yeah, so Charles Johnson, Stephen Sedan, who will be playing in a couple of hours against the Seattle Seahawks, is my business partner. Charles played for the Carolina Panthers. Kevin George, who's a retired NBA player for the Lakers, won 3 NBA championships. It's going to be our new partner in our new endeavor. And then also Kevin Garnett, who's a hometown South Carolina boy from Greenville as well, is going to be our newest business partner with our future project as well. And they're planning to be in town to celebrate the ribbon cutting with us.
And it's going to happen on Tuesday, December 6th at 3 p.m. The community is located right across the street from E.E. Taylor Elementary School. And just in case it rains, we're still going to do the ribbon cutting. We'll just move inside to E.E. Taylor.
Oh, that's wonderful, Marnie.
Okay, so
well, wonderful. I just want to congratulate you all for what you've done out there. I mean, it's really, really improved the quality of life for the entire community. So, Reggie, congratulations on that. And I look forward to seeing you Tuesday, man. And thanks for being on my TV show. All right.
Absolutely. Thank you, RG. Y'all have a great evening.
Thank you, Reggie. Well, Cynthia, that's it for this week's On Point News and Views. You guys, please, please remember that December 10th, we're launching the
Learning, Living, Giving campaign.
Learning, Living, Giving campaign for Jim Hardy.
Yeah. You guys, give us a call, 783-9936. Brent Calvin are on the phone. And don't forget our special headliner today, Richard Spencer. You guys stay with us.
I'm Peyton Long, and I joined Nationwide because they put members first. And what's important is important to them.